Darius Nasimi, or from what we've just heard? And how impacted is this region by the tariffs? Share with us your thoughts.
Yeah, so first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. I think the EU, the future of EU-Asian trade as well, it's going to be affected a lot by the US tariffs, because Europe is considering all its options as President Trump prepares to end the 90-day pause on the massive new tariffs he announced in April. And I think one possible strategy for the European Union could be pivoting to Asia as a primary trade partner, including countries like Centralasia. And I think the EU president also wants Europe to team up with the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is a trade group comprised of 12 countries that includes Japan and Australia. And the aim behind that is to form a coalition that currently accounts for 30% of world trade. And I think what they're trying to demonstrate by this is that free trade is possible on a rules-based approach. And I think China will also benefit. The EU has long moved in lockstep with the United States to present a united front against Beijing on trade and other issues. But Europe and China could gain from teaming up in reducing the effect of the impact from Trump's tariffs. And the two sides will obviously be meeting later in the year, despite Europe's concerns about China's human rights record, the intelligence, trade policies, military build-up, and also the support that they're showing for Russia. And I think the crucial part for both Europe and Asia is that they've built their economies on a free trade foundation that they think is coming under threat. And that's why cooperation between the two regions makes sense for them, given that, in their opinion, everyone is suffering from these shocks. And the partnership with the CPTPP would establish trading rules for almost the whole world that would be able to sidestep the behavior of any single country. And building that new system will obviously be challenging, but the alternative is going to be far more costly to Asia and to Europe. And there have been years of efforts to jumpstart Euro-Asian economic partnerships, but a lot of those efforts have been stalled. But I think what Trump has done recently is going to mean that the partnership is among the shrinking number of options to buffer both regional economies from Trump's trade wars. And it's not that the US is not the problem. That China's economy is also not in great shape, and it can't absorb the exports that its Asian neighbors were previously shipping to America. And so I think it creates a unique opportunity for European and Asian countries to get deals done. But coming from the focusing back on Central Asia, I think Central Asia, is already a place where there is lots of US trade and business happening in countries like Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. There are some EU companies, but I think the US and China are both the key players when it comes to imports and infrastructural development. So we really have to wait and see what role the EU is going to play in that part of the world, and what EU will do differently in the coming months. As you know, the factories in India have also been hit hard by Trump's tariffs, and the recent news stories about India buying Russian oil. So I think all of these, when you look at this in a comprehensive way, it's really going to be interesting to see how the EU and Asian countries will work together to try and reduce the effect of the US tariffs. Well, I don't. I mean, there are. You've got the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, but that doesn't really include a lot of the
That's a
Central Asian.
Chinese-led, though, isn't it? Or Chinese-Russian-led?
It is, yeah,
Mm.
and that's not really a Central Asia. I mean, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan are member states of that, but then there are disagreements as well. But
So
in terms of
there's no ASEAN or SAARC or EU type of or Mercosur type of element in Central Asia.
No, I don't think there's any specifically for Central Asia. Just the five Central Asian. Although they did set up the Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Program, which was a partnership led by the Asian Development Bank and the Economic Cooperation Organization. But what tends to happen is that the members, it's never just been the five Central Asian countries. China always is involved in that, and Pakistan also plays a role, and so does Iran. So Central Asia is kind of engulfed by its neighbors. Well, I think the two are closely interconnected, especially when it comes to China's One Belt, One Road initiative, which looks at trade routes and but then geopolitics also plays an important role because different countries are placed in different places, and countries like Afghanistan double landlocked. There's no access to seaports, and that makes trade difficult as well, and borders and boundaries and disputes between countries, which is another problem in Central Asia in terms of territorial boundaries. I think that's where both of them come together. But in Central Asia, I think there's a lot of geopolitics. For Central Asia,
No, just for generally EU-Asia trade, is it going to go up or down?
I think it's going to go up.